Are you ready for it? All right, I already did this and I forgot to turn on the mic, so here we go. Taylor freaking Swift, the big topic, only because I keep talking and mentioning little tidbits here and there in the other episodes. Not because, I mean, I guess she was the biggest grossing something tour, whatever, but there are a lot of people out there who do really big tours and actually sell big numbers on records on their albums without fluffing up the numbers. But, anyways, I digress already. This is kind of about her, more about her, like, it's just a conversation about unforeseeable potential consequences of who we choose in our romantic life. So, Ginny good dog. Ginny good dog. So yeah, I feel like yes, she has some big numbers to her name. She has some big accomplishments, but a lot of her is just a mirage. It's an illusion and it's called marketing. But that is not what we're talking about right here. Mm-mm. So much illusion from her getting top of charts or whatever for releasing her albums, but really because of the variables she releases to those albums that inflates the numbers, which should not count. Why does it count? Why do we not know better in all these years? To controlling what a lot of media reports on her. There's a lot of things, including something that I wanted to mention here that I found, but it was hard to find because things get deleted and buried. SEO manipulation, she's kind of a case study for it, all that stuff. There's such an illusion that especially comes from someone deeply insecure, or so they say, but also from someone with a lot of privilege, a lot of privilege, a lot of privilege that she grew up with, that she has, and knows how to use that as leverage, knows how people that don't have that privilege look up to or have some sort of privilege look up and want that. She kind of sells security in a way. Anyways, so you can say something got me and has gotten me for a few years because I didn't begin as a Taylor Swift fan. I used to not be a fan. I didn't think, I mean, she clearly could not sing well, not live. That kind of did help me as someone who doesn't sing well. I sang like she sang live. I sang like that just on my own. So it kind of, made me hope, but she couldn't sing well. She was awkward in movement, and her material, her songs were about things that I couldn't relate to. I didn't see other girls the way that she saw other girls. I didn't see them as competition or I didn't look down on them. I didn't have all of this pettiness and vengeance and immature kind of take and angles, and I wasn't like, oh my gosh, can't wait to fall in love and just like find my Prince Charming and like see me and I'm on the bleachers and she's cheer captain and all that stuff. I just couldn't relate to her. I really couldn't relate to her at all. But then Lover came, and a lot of people hate Lover. I love Lover, and I also quote it a lot as to show who am I to show sort of prove my point that she was better until now and that she has devolved. I don't know if that's a word. Come at me. I'm not Taylor Swift. I don't pretend that I'm a wordsmith. Cool. Reputation in retrospect as well. So, this video is not a critique of her music per se or her per se, but an expression of my frustration of how she was going up, she was evolving as a person, a human being in her craft, etc., and avoiding now growth, destroying her like vital pieces to all of those areas. She has devolved as a person, it seems, and as an artist. Now, maybe she's always been this person. I remember in the title song to the album Lover, and you save all your dirtiest jokes for me. That was like, I think, the lyric in that one. And I'll go into the So High School stuff and other things. But yeah, a dirty joke teenager that never grows up past that never grows up past pettiness, vengeance, doesn't evolve, doesn't even really speak about love very well lately. Like, doesn't really sound very wise and grown up. They say you get stuck at the age you become famous. successful, etc., the Arrested Development and all that. Um, ooh, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. So I write all of this out. I put it in Claude to format it so it's like easier to read. And I specifically say, do not change any word. Nothing about it. Just format it. It's like, yeah, yeah, I did that. I did that. Well, I just found a discrepancy and it took away my joke. Well, not really joke, but I was going to say Arrested Development, which I always took like a nonsense phrase or title to a show first time that I ever heard that. I love Claude. Like, you're right. I'm sorry. Can you show me specifically what's in the wrong place or what got moved? How can you say I'm right if you don't know? All right, moving on. So this Arrested Development. Let's first start with the Joe Alwyn of it all. Now, I don't know him. I don't know Travis. I don't know her. I don't know. Well, we all know her a lot more than these two guys, and we know Travis a lot more than Joe Alwyn because Travis has sought the spotlight and Joe Alwyn seems to have not. But yeah, don't know him. But many say that along the whole relationship, along the time that she was with Joe Alwyn, she flourished as a songwriter. She had better material, better expression of life, emotions, etc. And it wasn't necessarily his standards of quality, I would say, because I have no clue about him and his quality standards and his art. But being with him and being about that relationship made her introspective, made her better as a human, and make better material. And that's not deniable right now, unless she releases another album that is actually good. Right now, that's exactly what it looks like. She had the best material up to that point, up to this point, while she was Joe Alwyn. Not when she was, with any of the other guys before. She was also younger. But anyways, this is bothering me now. Like, I still will say what I say, and it seems like everything else is in place. But yeah, I just removed that little bit. Anyways, let's not dwell on it, Arena. Let's not dwell on it. I would also say that she flourished as a person, and she was like on her way upwards, onwards and upwards for a better human being. Lover is hated by a lot of her fans and critics, but it was a beautiful album. Such an amazing, honest piece of work, and so much light to it. Why am I talking again like I'm reading? I'm reading, but I just wrote this. Like, I literally just wrote this an hour ago. Nothing like Opalite was trying to be. Let me do that again. So, Lover is hated by a lot of her fans and critics, but in my opinion, I stand by this that it was one of the most beautiful albums that she has and such an amazing, honest piece of work. And it started that honesty and vulnerability and introspection. And there's so much light to it. That's like the album of a new relationship, kind of. I mean, there were some like signs that there was, it wasn't all like perfect and all that stuff, but the themes, the well, not the themes, the phrasings, the art of it, the artistry of it, the music, etc. It was bright, it was light, it was love, it was happy, it was joy, it was. Now I am not choosing the negatives, now I don't need to rely on what she later says, the, excuse my French, bitchiness. Um, Nothing like Opalite was trying to be either. I mean, because I say that there's so much light to it, but nothing like Opalite was trying to be. It had, as far as I remember, zero racist connotations to that album or any of the song on it. Unlike you can say about Opalite, like, is the Opalite stuff a bit of a stretch sometimes? Maybe, but people are picking on it, and I think it's not even the the song per se or whatever, but it's just like the whole vibe of her and her album and all of this. It's just like there's some red flags popping up. Um, and it could even be interpreted that way. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know. I haven't seen too much commentary on the Lover album. But yeah, it seemed like it had zero weird stuff or dark stuff. And girl, Opalite is fake. Opalite is fake. Why would you want to be Opalite, or your relationship to be Opalite, or your life to be Opalite? Yes, it's pretty, but it's fake. It's literally man made. And she's trying to make that point, and like, that's a good thing, but it's not. Being self-made is not the same thing as man-made, because self-made is you're just working with what the gifts you have been given and elevating those. It is not making things up. Why would you be so proud of that? With Joe, we had an amazing reflective song like The Archer, where she says, "Dark side, I search for your dark side. But what if I'm all right, all right, all right here?" And I like the play on words, and I think the lyrics don't reflect this, but when I first heard it, I didn't read the lyrics. What if I'm all right? Like, okay, I'm good. I don't need to worry or search for dark sides. I'm not in danger. What if I'm all right? And then the play on words of all right here, like the dark side is right here in me. I am that. I am seeking that. I am seeking what's inside, what I'm like projecting on the outside from my inside fears. And you could hear so much of her tug of war in a power struggle with not just him. At the beginning, Reputation album and Lover and all this stuff. There was a lot of like power struggle, tug of war. Like, are we not? Drop your weapons. There was a lot of themes around war and dropping your shields and weapons and all that stuff, but also around herself. I think there was a lot of like power struggle and tug of war with her own self and with her fears, with her defense mechanisms, with the things that she later in the Great War, and I'll get to it, described kind of like, in my opinion, like, have I been misled by my inner world, by my coping mechanisms, by my fears of what might happen, of might be in danger, etc., etc. The song Daylight says, "My love was as cruel as the cities I lived in. Everyone looked worse in the light. There are so many lines that I've crossed unforgiven. I'll tell you the truth, but never goodbye." That part, actually, I shouldn't even include. That's not what I'm talking about. The first part, that's literally the opening line of the last song of the album that was supposed to be called Daylight. But she put this as the last song. "My love was as cruel as the cities I lived in. Everyone looked worse in the light. But now I see the light. Now I am part of the light. Now I renounce that." Until she found Travis Kelce. "And I wounded the good and I trusted the wicked." Sorry, no end. "Clearing the air I breathed in the smoke." Um, and then maybe you ran with the wolves and refused to settle. Now, maybe I've stormed out of every single room in this town, threw out our cloaks and our daggers because it's morning now. That describes the dating and power struggle stage. And it's also like just beautiful. Now, she doesn't have to have this with Travis. Okay, you learn from that in the next relationship. You're not going to seek that. You're not going to have time for that. Cool. But this like morning glow, not like so high school and American Pie references, like being sneaky in the back seat and under the covers. It's like morning, it's light, it's bright. She had a beautiful thesis statement in the song The Great War. "Somewhere in the haze, got a sense I've been betrayed. Your finger on my hairpin triggers, a soldier down on that icy ground, looked up at me with honor and truth. Broken and blue, so I called out the troops. That was the night I nearly lost you. I really thought I lost you." Ooh, that I remember hearing that, and I don't mean to rush through this. I feel like I'm rushing through this like too much. Um yeah, I'm going to go back to my notes. I don't know what is going on. We're going to go back, but this cuz I was like, why are we already at these at these things? Let me go back. Let me go back. You know what? I'll start over. I'll start over. I mean, I said what I said. I'm going to like, you know, keep that in mind as we get to that. But let me backtrack a little bit. So back to the Arrested Development and all that stuff. Don't know too much about Joe Alwyn and Travis. I know maybe a slight bit more, because Travis likes to be in the spotlight and wants the spotlight, and whereas Joe doesn't seem like he does. Classic dismissive avoidant, I put on here, in my opinion. Along with so many signs from her lyrics that they were together, like so long London being such a culmination of those signs that Joe was more dismissive avoidant. She seems anxious or fearful avoidant, even because I remember, I forget, like King of My Heart. I think there were a couple of songs in Lover and Reputation that had this like, I'm gonna like withdraw, and like an anxious attached person doesn't tend to like go back and forth and be this volatile, like I'm in, I'm out, no, no boundaries, harsh boundaries, and it's just this like very tumultuous sort of ride. And but yeah, he does seem quite dismissive, avoidant, like very calm, and like not in the spotlight. Not that you have like, if you're secure you want the spotlight, but like, oh, there's a lot of things anyways. But yeah, Travis doesn't seem that way. And Travis, I'm like, hey, not everyone needs to be bright or destroy cliches like the dumb jock in this case. And maybe he is, maybe he's not. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's influenced by her to be less than he is, or maybe it's the other way. I don't know. I'm going to speak to what it comes across as. In a way, it does seem like it fits with her. Like, he wants a spotlight, he doesn't mind it at the very least, he doesn't want to hide, and she doesn't either. They fit in their low sense of humor, apparently, like her mention of them watching American Pie, as well as the whole embarrassing wood song, the redwood, your redwood, hard rock, all the stuff, and how they were getting handsy, or more than handsy, while their friends were in the same room. Like, okay, respect has gone out the window officially. Great. And this is supposed to be a love we all aspire to. All right, cool. She's clearly so high school with him, and she tries to make it a positive. But girl, your audience mainly has grown up, and you seem to like go back to being high school. And I don't think most of the audience that grew up with you, that loved you, I feel like they're like, I don't, I'm okay. I don't need to go back there. There's nothing back there. I'm good. I am probably have kids by now. Am married or have a career. Like I will say that in like my late 30s and 40s, I felt a very different shift in my mind, just how I perceive things, how I see things. It's not even just forced. You just grow if you allow yourself, but I don't think she allows herself to grow, or she did until she didn't. So yeah, some might have the same arrested development as she does, but some do not, and it's embarrassing, a turn off, and gross, especially that song. But beyond that song, just this whole demeanor, and so high school was a horrible song, and it makes many of us simply sad for her. But I'm not going to speak for everyone else. It makes me sad for her. And this new aesthetic looks pathetic. I did not mean to rhyme, by the way. Like, this just came out. My brain's like, oh, Taylor Swift, well, rhyming. And more so for what a tight grip she has holding on to, defending it all, defending Life of a Showgirl, defending that this is the best work she's done, defending just her downfall as a human being as much as an artist. Fair. She needed the spotlight. She feels liberated and free to be with someone who also needs it, wants it, is okay with it, understands it. Cool. But let's not call a spade a spade. Life of a Showgirl sucks. This was all caps, but I felt like whispering has more emphasis. It is catchy in melody sometimes, yes, but not so much the lyrics. And a lot of lyrics are dumb. And a lot of melodies sound completely not inspired, not new, anything like that. Wow, I am like burning. It's supposed to be cloudy. Anyways, her songs sound like nothing original. They have a lot of dark energy to them for someone so in love and so like, I'm the happiest I've ever been. There's so much dark energy. Like, ew, ew, ew. low vibration, whatever you want to call it. A lot of vindictiveness. That's always been her game. Okay, fine, but it just hit different. It hit like earlier days. Pulling people in that have no current business to be pulled in. Charlie XCX, Olivia Rodrigo, some say, or Sabrina Carpenter. People, you know, debate on that. Can we get more clouds and less wind? Thank you. For someone so in love and so happy in such a better place than ever, you for sure don't sound like it. You don't. You sound bitter, hateful, messed up, and mean and vindictive and all that stuff for no reason. Why are you making The Life of a Showgirl, which none of the songs fit? Maybe the title song, but none of the songs fit the concept of the album whatsoever. Everyone noticed that. Everyone expected something different. And that something different that everyone was expecting is such a missed opportunity because she had so much that she could write about a life of a showgirl. But she basically trashed that and tried to fit this like these like petty songs into the title she already chose and the aesthetic that she already chose that she stole allegedly. So yeah, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, in the past, some songs like that made sense. But again, it doesn't fit where you're at, where you say you're at in life, that you're in love, that you're happy, that this and that. You just made history with this world tour. You just did this world tour, history or not. Like, that is just crazy, crazy marathon type of thing. And you released Tortured Poets Society or Department or whatever, and that was a decent album. I think that was a really good album. Some people criticize it, but it was a good album. But this was not that. And it didn't even do what it said it would do. Life of a Showgirl was not that. In the past, some of these songs made sense. Like I said, some broke her heart, or someone broke her heart. Cool, fair game, I would say, because guys write that stuff all the time. Cue in Justin Timberlake, Crimea River, and so many others. The Kanye thing, the Kim Kardashian thing, okay, understandable. Um, I feel like they both profited off of that to an extent. Anyways, I think it was like, it is what it is. I don't know. Although I recently was watching this video on how like her winning might have really not been fair. So I don't know. But yeah, same with Kim Kardashian, which she again brought into the conversation in an awfully mean way. I think this was on the Poets one, or was this on Live? I don't. I think it was in the Poets. Yeah, the Thank You Amy song, insinuating using her daughter to get her ultimate revenge because her daughter loves her music and it must get to her, to Kim, that she loves her music, that her daughter loves her music and comes home singing it. Like, are you 8 years old, girl? And I'm talking about Taylor Swift. Are you 8? What is that logic? And how cold-hearted, awful person you are? And where's the growth? Growth is supposed to be, it's not supposed to be like I'm gonna take my revenge. It really isn't. She had some bitterness left. Okay, don't know why after so long, but all right. We've all been there sometimes, and some things are hard to shake. I think it was extreme. I mean, the thing that supposedly her mom said about Kim, it sounds like her mom isn't very evolved either. All right. But yeah, the lyric in "Thank You, Amy" was that I'm referring to was, "And one day your kid comes home singing a song that only us two is gonna know is about you, cuz," and then she goes into the that only us two is gonna know. Taylor grammar. But this album, okay, I don't feel like any need. I don't feel the need to bring up the Charlie XCX thing. Like, yeah. It happened, I guess, around Taylor dating what's his name from Britain, from England, whatever. And so that was, but that was kind of like poet department, whatever the album is. So, what is it doing on this album? I think she knew that it was a weak song and it was maybe not the best song, so she didn't include it in that because that was too good of an album to include that crap. So, whatever. But yeah, this one was messed up about the Charlie thing. Not gonna go into the details of this because that's not primarily what this episode is about. If this is what a happy relationship is, though, I don't want a happy relationship. I don't want to, become stupid. I don't want to get dumb. I don't want to regress and devolve as a human being. I don't want to be pathetic. I don't want to um, just become a worse person. So, yeah, I guess I don't want true love if this is what she says true love made her right. I guess she doesn't say that, but insinuates it. And this is kind of something that I wanted to parallel with. I remember a few years ago thinking about this question. Like, do you go for the person who, what we say, accepts me the way that I am, completely, etc.? A person that doesn't challenge you, that enables you, I would say enables you, enables the things you need to ideally heal on or work on. Heal on, is that a thing? I don't know. Heal or work on. The way we say, that accept me as I am, and the way that it feels like a relief when you find someone who does that. Or do you go for someone who challenges you, who lets you know if you do something that doesn't land well with them or others, that calls you out on your cramp, who doesn't enable you but shines a light on the cracks that you have because we all have cracks. And in her instance, it's so easily seen because she does all that introspection while she has been with Joe Alwyn, and she doesn't do that introspection with Travis Kelce. And she's like, "Oh, I don't need to be anyone I'm not." But you aren't your dirty jokes, girl. You aren't your pettiness. That's not who you are. That's just the stuff that you've accumulated. And wouldn't you want to grow out of those? You can call people out in more evolved ways than that, than what you are doing. So, yeah, I personally want the latter. And I knew that at that point, and I said that. And I think, there's also a difference because you can confuse arguments and power struggling, being stuck in a power struggle stage, with growth and with all of these things of like, okay, well, he's not or she's not enabling me and blah, blah, blah. But I don't think it's like mutually exclusive. Is that the word? Like, I don't think you have to fight in order to be challenged, and that if you don't fight, you're not challenged and you're enabled. That's not what I'm saying. I don't know if they fight or not. I have no idea. And I don't know if Joe and her fight. That's not what I'm talking about. Enabling is like what is seen in her material right now, talking about things that she should be way past, grown up past, and being a version of herself that, and regressing to a version of herself that she should outgrow by now. And she was working on outgrowing myself. I want to grow and be better than I was yesterday, than I was last episode, than I was last year, last month, so forth. I don't want someone who enables things that I want less in society. And again, like, I want to be specific. That's not necessarily someone like always criticizing you and always like expecting and having these high standards for you. It's not always like that. And it's generally more like in a form of being supportive and gentle, not tough love. And so I'm not talking about tough love or criticism or whatever and high standards, but I'm not talking about enabling. Does that make sense? I don't know. Maybe I'm not beating any animal down, beating a rock. Yeah, at this point. Um, but yeah. So yeah, I want to grow into more. I want to grow into more of the loving me, the kind me, the grounded me, the not triggered me, the person that is better, the person that like really, I have this. When I was little, I used to think about Mother Teresa. Like, would Mother Teresa like come up in your face and like start fighting with you or arguing with you or whatever, she would like just let people say whatever and just like pass through her. That's my version of like what I want to be, and like stand your ground. I think I don't remember reading too much about how she would speak and stuff, but yeah, I think that at least my version is like it's not that you're like this like rug that people step on. But I think that's what Taylor Swift thinks, and many people think being evolved means, and it's not. And it's not weakness. It's not all of that. It's just really, truly being above it. So yeah, someone challenging me or challenging us. Okay, someone challenging the other person can look different depending on many things, like who you are, that other person is, where they are at, when they meet, what stages of life are they in, the methods, the childhood wounds, their coping mechanisms, all this stuff. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less argumentative. Sometimes someone can support you without being argumentative or criticizing. Sometimes they support you with it. Sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes, they can enable you. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't know how to, you know, support you without being direct and by being more fluffy. But Travis seems to enable her bad sides, or again, the relationship she has with him at this point does. Maybe he's like really a great person. I don't know. Maybe he eventually is going to help her, evolve, grow up, be a better person. I don't know. I just don't see that from the snippets, I guess, that I've seen. So I guess that I don't have too much to talk about, except what we see of her. So yeah, again, I don't know him as a human being. I don't know any of these people as a human being, but it like the patterns that are being observed by not just me but many people are worth mentioning and talking about and thinking, how does this apply, if at all, to my personal life? So with Joe, she had amazing self-reflection, reflective songs like The Archer. Already mentioned Dark Side, A Search for Your Dark Side, but what if I'm all right here? And you could hear so much of her tug and war and power struggle with not just him but herself. The song Daylight, my love was as cruel as the cities I lived in, blah blah blah. And I wounded the good and I trusted the wicked, clearing the air I breathed in the smoke, like, going at these like fights and trying to like go after, like, you're a snake, I'm not a snake, all these things. Like, she breathed in that smoke that she was given, like the famous quote, I think it was a Nelson Mandela quote, where it's like, a grudge or something is like drinking poison and hoping the other person gets a poison. I mean, that's not the exact quote, but I don't want to say the D word. Anyways, um, and she had this beautiful thesis statement that maybe makes a bit more sense now for me to say that. In the Great War, somewhere in the haze, got a sense I've been betrayed. Your finger on my hairpin triggers. Like, he, soldier down on that icy ground, looked up at me with honor and truth broken in blue. So I called off the troops, and that was the night I nearly lost you. I really thought I lost you. Talking about triggers. Okay, maybe it's a little too literal to be taken that way, but I don't think that was not supposed to be taken any other way. Um, does that make sense? Yeah. But yeah, talking about triggers, about someone touching a very sensitive, sore wound that's not exactly been healed. Maybe it has like a scab and, like whatever, it hurts. That's what triggers are. It's not that someone does something bad, it's someone does something that we have a specific, like, sensitive spot in our soul, in our heart, in our inner child, wherever you want to call it. Um, so yeah, I always also got a sense I'd been betrayed as her being betrayed by her own fears and her own self, her mind, her defense mechanisms and so forth. That, and I still take it that way. Like somewhere in the haze, somewhere in all of this war and like tit for tat and all the stuff and all the things that I chased before to talk about and the fights that I chose and all this stuff. Somewhere I got a sense that I've been betrayed by myself because I see you, you're like soldiering down on the icy ground, like I'm not even talking to you, is how I take it. And you're like, you're sticking true to us. You're still here. You like still are in it, and you're soldiering down, and you're looking up at me with honor and truth, and you're broken and blue because I keep like badgering you with these like fears. I'm fighting with my invisible, like in daylight, I think she was talking like she has invisible ghosts. She's pacing in the night with invisible ghosts or something. Like she's fighting with her own fears, thinking that he is those things. She said this in The Archer. This is why like I just love them together, and I feel like, ooh, there's so much there for us to learn from. But yeah, and then that was the night I nearly lost you. When she called out the troops, because she's like, hold up. He is like saying, signaling, like, Taylor, like, I'm not your enemy. And she kept taking him as her enemy. And then she was like, oh no, I might be wrong about that, even though she said the same thing in The Archer. So, I mean, I can sort of relate to this timeline. Um, so yeah, so I called up the troops and I nearly lost you. And if I hadn't, I would have. Beautiful, beautiful. And truth and like realness and honesty and, evolution and wisdom. Yeah. She had amazing, amazing, amazing gemstones and like a real rich treasure chest of gemstones, not the fake ones like Opalite, not man made, but like just she found this treasure chest, and then she either she gave it up, or because it sounds like in So Long London she walked away, or he was like, I just can't do this anymore. They probably, in the realness of it all, they probably both kept saying that. And maybe she did walk away because then she's like, but I have this guy, this dude, this kid that supposedly has liked me since we met like years and years ago. We were teens, and I'm gonna try it with him. That's what it seemed like, but who knows? Yeah, she had this treasure chest of wisdom, from lover to tortured poet department, and then she had real human insight, real life insight. She had real reflection. She had things to say, to live, to reflect, to grow from, to role model, to help all of us with, and she threw it away. Whether she left, he left, it's not even about that relationship. Okay, that thing didn't work with Joe Alwyn. Okay, what I mean by she threw it away is the choice that she made in the next relationship. Maybe both. I mean, maybe, I don't know the British guy relationship part, but like definitely it doesn't look like she's kept that treasure chest of wisdom and pearls and gems and gold and silver, platinum, I don't know what. And yeah, she just threw it away to be high school and dumb and stupid and pathetic. It's not pathetic to be that way in high school. I think thought that at the time. But, like, okay, different people grow up at different times. And I feel like I was more grown up for people in high school, but I'm less grown up for the people my age now. So, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like she had all these things, and like she could help so many of us. Like I feel like she helped me so much in my relationship, or how I my personal growth period, because like things like what I've shared with you made me stop and think like, ooh, instead of going, and having that like very, catty girl sort of gossip relationship, it made me really ponder like exactly like the Great War bridge. I think it was the bridge. Is it me? Am I betraying myself? Am I seeing ghosts? Am I seeing enemies that are not there? And I feel like even though it's been a journey, and excuse me, very much still is a journey. Her writing those things helped me really sit with those things. Maybe I would have anyways, and I do. Like, I went to therapy. I like that stuff. I uh, became an attachment style coach, right? But I think it had a big impact, and I wonder how many people had that same impact, that don't go to therapy, but only have her and music and other celebrities to like speak truthfully. And now she's doing all of this, all of these people a disservice. I think, my opinion. She had me stop being so reactive. Now, again, I didn't say I completely stopped that or healed. It's a work in progress, but yeah, be more real and honest with myself. She wasn't spitting enabling fallacies or falsities. I don't think falsities is a word, but I really liked it. She was relaying wisdom in real time as she was learning it. And that was alone beautiful. She didn't have the answers. She kind of did, but she was like figuring it out too. And then we get Travis. If you think what's his name British guy was bad, be careful of wolf in sheep's clothing. Now this might be harsh. Again, I keep thinking like maybe I need to like look up Travis a little bit more. But the stuff that I do from like the dating show that he was on, that he made for himself or whatever, like I don't know if I'm very off. I don't know. Sure, the guy seemed problematic, the British guy, in many ways, her fans pointed out, but he also inspired some freaking great lyrics and music. But I will talk more also about can we get some sort, because my laptop is like burning, like one little cloud. Yeah, I will talk about like, do you have to suffer to make great art? Because that is a topic, and I have different thoughts than the majority on. But yeah, in general, so far, Travis inspired trash. I'm not saying he's trash. I don't know. I even like the little that I do know that I don't like about him. I don't think he's trashy. I wouldn't go that far. So yeah, but the stuff, her work right now is trash. It is relating to their relationship in some form or another. And I even have this note like, should I even say that? Should I even talk about this? What if they have their wedding in Cleveland and I would otherwise be invited by friends of friends of friends of friends of friends somehow? Who knows? And because I said what I said, and I do stand by it, I'm now like persona non grata, or get, like SEO against me. I don't know, but I mean what I say. I think it's a good like food for thought. What I'm saying, I don't package it completely like flawlessly and immaculate, but it's food for thought. So yeah, I even say like he might be a great guy, nice, generous, whatever. Like I hear good things in real life about him, but something's not going so well. Her work is, like I said, trash right now relating to their relationship. And it seems as a person, instead of lifting him up, she's getting dragged down to the level of what it appears to be his level of not lifted up. Maybe it's the other way. Maybe it's just like taking her time and him just accepting, like, okay, let her get this out of her system, and then, we'll work on better things and being kinder to humans and all that. I don't know. Because there's also this problematic, like, charity thing with him and stuff. So who knows? I have some lyrics here from So High School. This was the first song about them, I think. This was on Tortured Poets. And I remember the song itself, the melody sucked. But, anyways, I'll drink what you think, and I'm high from smoking your jokes all darn night. Um, Even if she truly meant this only hypothetically, I doubt it because she does drink. They both drink alcohol. And so, yeah, smoking, why not add that to the list? You know, she's like going for the high school experience. The lyrics go on. I'm watching American Pie with you on a Saturday night. Your friends are around, so be quiet. I'm trying to stifle my sigh. And before you have any question of what this is trying to say, she also has another lyric a little later on saying, touch me while your bros play Grand Theft Auto. Another crappy cultural thing, Grand Theft Auto. You know, it doesn't really promote very happy, good, elevated vibes. But yeah, so this the stifle my thigh situation is what I'm taking from this. So that's why I said like great. So respect is out the window, and crap like for his friends, which probably they don't care because they might all be just as low. I don't know. And crap like wood, like the song that everyone has picked on. I mean, besides the grossness of it all, like the trying to be sexy, and there's nothing sexual or sexy about it. There's nothing but like bad corn. And I don't mean corn with a C, but you figure it out. There's also stuff like it's not even bad corn. I think it's even worse than that. I don't know. There's also stuff like this following stuff that doesn't even make sense and sounds very stupid. Yeah, I took him back and then I stepped on a crack and the black cat laughed. Like, what the fudge does this even mean? What does this even mean? What are you even talking about? Why? Like, this song just makes no sense. And you're trying to be sexy or, like, innuendos here and there, but you suck at it. And then also, like, what is this? What does this even mean? It makes no sense. Why are you putting this in here? And then there's a glimpse of wisdom. All of that bitchin' wishing on a falling star never did me any good. Well, you know, clearly you have not taken that lyric to heart. You did not mean that because, yeah, yeah, you're back to all that bitchin'. Okay, yeah. I'm not gonna go further into this song. I want to say, I think one more thing. We have the Golden Globes. This happened in 2024, but because I myself am questioning like, am I being too hard and too harsh on Travis Kelce? I don't know. But then I remember the Globes a few years ago. And then there's also the Cavs game recently, but we'll get to that one, where I find he is very embarrassing to be with, but so might she be. So back to that enabling versus growth. But anyways, I would be embarrassed if my man, if his response and his way of defending me and supporting me is what he did at the Golden Globes, the way that he spoke about Joe Coy, that's really hard to pronounce, sorry. But I also feel embarrassing that like her reaction was embarrassing too. Like the guy, Joe Coy, for a quick memory lane drive. During the opening monologue of 2024, Joe Coy, for the Golden Globes, Joe Coy, a comedian, said the big difference between the Golden Globes and the NFL is that I put that in is that on the Golden Globes we have fewer camera shots of Taylor Swift. I swear, there's just more to go. There's just more to go to here. I don't know. Oh my gosh, my butt hurts. Not because of this, but just because of sitting. So, and she gave this like stone faced, unamused, even maybe like dagger look, calmly taking a sip of her drink, or daggerly taking a sip of her drink. Oh my gosh, this is a nice cloud. Let me do this really fast. So I would be embarrassed about that. Like, girl, that wasn't really about you. That was not a dig, an anti-feminist, and all the stuff that you will make it out to be. It was not. It was a dig at the NFL, and it was really like worth mentioning because she had no, like, the NFL was using her and she was using the NFL, and great, it worked out for two of the biggest earning entities on this planet maybe. But yeah, like, that was just not great. Not a nice thing. So I think he was picking more on the NFL than on Taylor, but whatever. So I couldn't find this Travis response. I mean, I tried, and even in my previous podcast episode, I forgot to mention it. But there was this tweet, and I'll try to insert it here, I think, um, from Travis himself that he later deleted, where it seems like both of them match in pettiness. That was way too fast. Because to defend your partner or loved one, and the love of your life and all that stuff in an unintelligent, low life kind of way like this with zero class, it's not my jive. It's not my thing. It's not my cup of tea. So he said, more attention seeking from a nobody. Dot, dot, dot. Next. Okay. All right, Travis. Yeah. This is why I think because of that is why I can't see him be the good guy that people say that he is. Just because you're like smiley and full of life and nice and chill and whatever doesn't mean you're great. So yeah, like I said, it was pretty impossible to find, but I did find it eventually on, like, I think a YouTube video. I'll post it up. You can, find that out more. But yeah, this from the guy, and this is not really the biggest point, but this is a point. This from the guy who is dating and now engaged and about to marry the most famous woman on the planet, or one of them. Yeah, I don't know if she's the most famous still. I feel like people probably know Demi Moore more because back in the day, I don't know. But yeah, defending her honor by calling a comedian who was also just doing his freaking job and calling something out that was like spot on and the elephant in the room, a nobody. Okay, you're so great. Look how big you are. You're not. The irony is so thick you could choke on it. I did not write that part. That part was inserted by Mr. Miss Claude. But yeah, but I agree with that, like that sentiment. And the joke that this Joe Coy comedian guy made wasn't even mean, and it wasn't even, I would say, intended for Taylor Swift. It was like self aware, and yeah, he himself kind of said, I guess, that it wasn't intended as an attack on her, that it was more aimed towards the NFL than Taylor. And Travis' response was more aggressive and more personal than what Coy even said at all. And it's punching down. And it's interesting, standing on this platform built by association to her, even though, yeah, he was famous in the football community, but I hadn't heard about him until like that year, and about her, like, he wasn't that famous. Not everyone watches football. And it's not even the irony of it all, because, okay, whatever, sure, like, that, fair. But I have my own theory that he has, also been seeking fame more than love. And, like, he has had the dating show and all the stuff. And I feel like it's highly convenient that he just fell in love for Taylor Swift because of her and not because of her fame. And I'm not saying that it's the only thing that he likes about her, or the only reason that he wanted to be with her, but I feel like that was intoxicating to him, that idea. Personally, I think that. But it's also simply that a person even thinking that way is really not evolved. That's not someone with much grown up intelligence, I guess. I don't even know how to say it. It's not someone that I would be proud to be with. You may never defend me that way. Oh my gosh. That's not defend. That's making me look really horrible. That made her look horrible. And maybe that's why he deleted it right away. Maybe he realized, oh, that was in the heat of the moment. I just took it personally because like my girl was attacked, and we can be triggered, right? Um, or maybe she had him delete because like that's not a good look for us, Travis. I don't know. Like you can say that to me, but like in the public eye, we need to be more careful. I don't know, but yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. The other thing too, like I'm not gonna say this. But yeah, so this is like kind of like the response of someone that's emotionally sophisticated as a 19-year-old guy, not even 19-year-old. I would even argue like 10, 5. I don't know. It's dismissive, it's mean, it's lazy too, and it's over the top. It's overreacting to what the guy said. There's no wit, there's no thought, there's no self awareness, there's no real defense of her. He's just attacking this guy. There's no defense of her. It's dumb and mean dumb specifically. And he apparently, yeah, deleted the thing. I will say this. It's kind of like giving that guy who another guy like flirts with his girl or looks at his girl or whatever, says something, and the guy starts fighting or punching the guy. I'm like, that is not impressed. That's yeah, the opposite of impressed. I'm that doesn't impress me much, as Shania Twain would say. Like that is, I want someone who's, yeah, evolution. That's what I want. I don't want cavemen. Thank you. And I don't think, and that includes not just physical, but also like verbal and thought, how you think about people. And there comes a time, like we had this. Oh boy, my butt. We had this like instance. We traveled recently, and we had this instance with like a pretty creepy situation, pretty creepy like person, and I understood and that like uneasiness and like wanting to defend, like my boyfriend wanting to like protect me and stuff like that. I get that to an extent. There are those moments, but this wasn't that moment. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, yeah, and even in like moments that many people would think they are like, no, say like your way to defend someone should be to protect their safety and your safety. It doesn't do anyone any good for both of you to be unsafe. So that's like my take on the physical part. But yeah, anyways, wrapping up. Um, last topic. This whole thing that can't make good art unless you're in pain, unless you're suffering, unless it's like heartbreak, and that she mentioned this. I think for the album with Exile on it. Was it that one? I don't know. Or Lavender Haze, the Midnight's album. I don't know. But yeah, she was saying like she was worried that now that she's in love, now that she's happy, she won't be able to make good art. And then she found a way to like be inspired by stories, by making characters up, etc., etc. Well, that doesn't sound like you're making good art, happy art. You're just kind of like going to the next line. Oh, I'm happy. Well, let me find other people's pain. And sure, fair enough. But I think this narrative might be that the moment that she got happy with Travis, the art collapsed, and that's why she released her probably worst album ever. And I challenge that question. I challenge that narrative, and I question it. I don't think so. I don't think Happy ruins art or even her art. I don't think Happy is what we hear on that album. And I don't, or maybe she's resisting writing Happy, and she's aiming to like still be vindictive and mean and bad, and it's not working. I don't know. But even her Wood song didn't work. Like, even her happy songs didn't work. Like Elizabeth Taylor, what does that mean? You have Cornelia Street, literally the same song, it just dressed up differently. So what does that do for her? Nothing. It doesn't add anything to her or to us. But also like, and that one is one of the catchy melodies. It doesn't make sense, but I mean, it does make sense literally, but not really make sense. Like, this is deep and I don't know, good anything. Um, but yeah, I don't think the happy ruined her art. I think the enabling for herself to regress to someone who is not 36 or whatever years old, I think that ruined her art. I think her art is ruined because she is not growing, because she doesn't do self reflection. She's not being real. She's not being wise. She's not going in that direction. I think that's what ruined her art, especially now when people want that. They want real human beings and they want to question things and explore things and themes around, depth and challenging norms. And she's not doing that. She regressed to the opposite of that. So I think that's what made her art currently bad. Not because she's happy in a happy relationship, which we assume that she is. We don't know. So yeah, I don't know if I said everything, but I feel good with that. Yeah, thank you for joining me on episode 5. And bearing with me as I pull kind of more like a macro, and I hope it actually came across and it communicated what I wanted to communicate, which was this macro level, eagle eye viewpoint observation of what we can learn from this Taylor Swift, like rise and fall and roller coaster, and the patterns that are being observed, because it's fascinating when you sit back and remove the Taylor Swift of it all and just being a pop star and all the stuff and celebrities, just like with the it ends with us lawsuit. People say, oh, it's just celebrities, rich people, wasting money. No, there's real things to learn from that, especially with that lawsuit, because the conversation can go deeper. And I can maybe do an episode on that because I covered that for the last year on my other channel. But yeah, I think this is like really something that we can truly sit with and learn from. It's not just like, oh, let's bash Taylor Swift or let's lift Taylor Swift up. It's not. It's really just like, let's pause and reflect on this. What's going on? And how can we notice if we're doing this in our lives, and do we want to? Are we making the right choices? Are we making choices aligned with what we say that we want for ourselves? What the journey we have for ourselves is? So, yeah. Um, yeah. So this was kind of like about, at the end of the day, who you choose, why you choose them, is that the right choice, and the effect you may not know is the consequence of it. You think you found the one, true love, someone better than those before, etc., etc. But are you in denial? Are you really just doing that and finding that person and all that stuff because it hurts to grow? It sucks to grow. To grow, to evolve, you need to get out of your comfort zone. And most of us don't want to get out of our comfort zones, if not everyone. It takes conscious decision to go into the uncomfortable. And uncomfortable, the Kylie Minogue song, Better the Devil You Know, the uncomfortable is not that. And I actually have a song that I co wrote and stuff that I didn't release, but yeah, um growth is not the devil. Growth is not, there are parts of us that we lose as we grow, that sure, that's fair to get back, but this, what she's displaying right now, I would highly strongly argue is not. And i don't think I don't think finding the true love and someone that's actually better, I don't think yields this type of thinking and this type of um these types of choices. So yeah, anyways, thank you. Episode 5. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful day. Bye.